All things are composed of matter. You, me, and everything around us is made up of matter. Matter is a physical substance that takes up space and has mass. An atom is the basic unit of matter. But what does it look like? What is it made of? Atoms are composed of three subatomic particles: protons, neutrons, and electrons. We can categorize protons, neutrons, and electrons using two basic traits: charge and mass. Charge is the electrical property of the particle, whether it's positive, negative, or neutral. Mass is just a measure of how much matter the particle has. Let's talk about the protons, neutrons, and electrons in terms of these two characteristics. We'll start with the protons. Protons are positive in charge and have a mass of 1 atomic mass unit. At the opposite end of the spectrum, you have the electron with a negative charge. The mass of an electron isn't zero, but it's very, very small, about 0.05% of a proton's mass. It's close enough to zero for our purposes that we'll consider it to have essentially negligible mass. And finally, we have the neutron, which is neutral in charge and also has a mass of 1 atomic mass unit. But how are these particles arranged in atoms? The first thing to know is that each atom has an atomic nucleus, which is a collection of protons and neutrons at the center of the atom. This cluster of protons and neutrons is very small, very dense, and very positively charged. That just leaves the electrons, which exist in the electron cloud, or the space in which electrons move within an atom. Electrons move around the nucleus of the atom, kind of like how planets in our solar system orbit the sun. We'll talk more about the electron cloud later. We know how atoms are structured, but how do we know whether we're looking at an oxygen atom, a nitrogen atom, or a carbon atom? All we need to do is find the atomic number, the number of protons in the atom's nucleus. This number determines the atom's identity. For example, carbon's atomic number is 6, so we know that any atom with 6 protons in its nucleus is a carbon atom. An element is a substance that is composed of a single type of atom, such as oxygen, aluminum, and gold. These are all elements because each is only made up of one type of atom: oxygen atoms, aluminum atoms, and gold atoms. There are over 100 known elements, each with different properties and characteristics. Rather than memorize everything about these different elements, scientists have developed an organized and convenient reference chart of the elements called the periodic table. Each element is listed with its full name, symbol, atomic number, and atomic mass. The way these elements are organized into columns and rows tells us a lot about the individual characteristics of each element, too. That way, scientists can figure out different properties of these elements based simply on their location in the periodic table. Matter is any physical substance that takes up space and has mass, and an atom is the basic unit of matter. Atoms are made up of 3 smaller parts called subatomic particles, each of which has a characteristic mass and charge. A proton has a mass of 1 and a positive charge. A neutron is a subatomic particle with a mass of 1 and a neutral charge. Both protons and neutrons are found in the atomic nucleus, which is in the center of the atom. An electron is a subatomic particle with a negligible mass and a negative charge. Electrons surround the atomic nucleus in the electron cloud. The atomic number, or number of protons, gives the atom its identity. An element is a pure substance that consists of only one type of atom. For reference, all the elements are organized into a convenient chart called the periodic table.